This week on the Round Robin Podcast, you underestimate the power of the dark side.
No, I didn't.
Welcome everybody to the Round Robin Podcast, where we discuss one old and one new podcast. I'm joined by
Nick.
Ryan.
I'm Kirk. This week we're going to be discussing Star Wars TIE Fighter number 1 and that great trade paperback, Dark Empire. How you guys doing this week?
All right.
Doing good.
Good.
That was a lot of reading.
That was a lot
That
of reading.
was, yeah. I was like, maybe we shouldn't do whole trade paperbacks.
I still thought it was easier than all of that Excalibur.
It was about the
Claremont
same-
writes a lot.
Yeah.
I was snoring through some of it. It was putting me to sleep.
So what are you doing first?
We're gonna do Star Wars TIE Fighter first.
Yeah.
It was written by Jody Hauser, and the artists on this comic were Roge Antonio. I hope that's how you spell your name or say your name. If not, sorry. And Michael Dowling. Okay, this is the first in a 5-part miniseries. This is called The Shadows Fall. The Empire's glorious victory at the Battle of Hoth has all but smashed the pitiful Rebel Alliance, whose dwindling forces now
Yeah, you can't read it either? Because
Scatter-
it's a stupid black on red font.
and
Ugh.
flee before the might of the Imperial war machine. Soon peace will be restored to the galaxy, and the feared
Yeah?
fighter pilots of Shadow Wing will be the ones to secure the victory. The story will follow the characters of Tesho Bruce, the leader of the Shadow Squadron, Ganem Kahai, hopefully, Zin Gra, Gila Bribton, and Leighton Ori. So what'd you guys think?
You did a great job announcing all those names.
Yeah, I'm
That's
proud of you for
impressed.
actually reading it on that horrible print.
I actually wrote it down and I was having trouble reading
Oh.
my handwriting.
I don't remember too many, whereas from the perspective of the villain, per se.
Yeah, I like this. The only one that I've read was the Darth Vader stuff.
There's the Darth Vader stuff, and then with the books, I don't know, there was like the Bounty Hunter
Yeah.
book and a couple others like that, but I
Yeah,
don't
there was an
remember.
alliance that was about stormtroopers that
Oh, yeah.
switched sides.
Yep. That was a good book. That was on, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep. That's why I liked it. It was on.
But yeah, it was nice to actually read something that was actually from the Empire side, but you can see already that somebody's going to defect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. It's
like,
I think all 5 of them are going to defect.
I just want a gung-ho, straight-on evil side. Well, actually, if you think about it, they're not the evil side, because they're not the terrorists.
We'll get into that. There was a part in there that I want to discuss.
They're a legitimate government, voted on by the Senate.
Sure.
There's no subterfuge involved in the overtaking of the Republic. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 do not exist. That story doesn't exist. So
1,
the
2, and
Empire has
3?
always been...
I thought it started with 4. I didn't realize there was
There's
any
a
other
1, 2, and
numbers.
3?
There's a 1, 2, and 3? Oh.
You know, Luke on Tatooine for 3 episodes. God, can you imagine if that show was made?
Oh my god. Snorefest.
It was. It's called Dune.
Oh, baby bird.
I'm going to pee in my suit. All right. That's all I got from Dune.
So you didn't like Dune either?
No.
I didn't either. I was like, what the hell is this?
I'm sure the books are great.
My
Like the
brother-
first couple books.
My
but-
brother absolutely, if a new Dune book comes out, he'll read it. And I'm like, you actually like that shit?
Sandworms and spices.
Sand, it's coarse. It gets everywhere.
I'm sure the books were fine, but the
Probably
movie itself
the movie was horrible.
Oh, that was painful.
We start out with the TIE fighters obliterating everybody. And only, what was it, 1 left? Or did they get him too? Nope, they got him too.
Yep.
And then they're back at base, and he's like, oh, that maneuver was awesome. Well, yeah, it was me.
Well, it's always, she's a pilot. She's going to be cocky.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in a TIE fighter that actually has shields in them, you can even afford to be cocky.
Yeah, they're not cannon fodder. You can tell they are not cannon fodder. They're not trying to overtake them by pure numbers.
But,
And-
okay, starting off. So the Emperor has no problem hiring women as TIE fighter pilots?
Nope.
He had problems finding women for anything before this.
Yeah.
Look at the movies. There was no women on any of the Star Destroyers. There was no women on the Death Star. There
There were
women.
no aliens on the
Anywhere.
Death Stars either.
So apparently, between Empire and Return of the Jedi,
Is that when this takes place?
Yeah, after Hoth, right?
I was just gonna say I would like it if they did a story about after episode 5 going into 6, because you always get between 4 and 5, between Empire and A New Hope. That's all you ever get.
Empire and Return?
Yeah, Empire
Or
Return.
Or New Hope and...
A New Hope and Empire. That's all you ever get is that.
Shadows of the Empire.
I read the book.
So did I, and it was like a huge thing back then.
Yep.
And now it's
I
like...
also played the game.
Caesar. Really?
Prince Caesar.
I
liked it back
enjoyed
then.
it.
It was
I
a
had
good
the
book.
soundtrack.
It was
Yeah,
a good
I had
book.
the soundtrack, I had the book, I had
Yeah.
the comic,
The book was good.
I had
the action figures. Yeah.
Yep.
The book was good. The game was good.
Dash Rendar
Yeah.
and the Outrunner or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I was so ecstatic when I saw that in the remake or the special edition of A New Hope.
Yep.
And you can see the Outrunner fly off, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Dash Rendar!" Like nerd orgasm was in the theater.
Nerdgasm.
Like, oh my god,
Nerdgasm. I like how they call the commander the main
Oh, Grandma.
Yeah.
grandmother. I like that. That's quite funny. That's a term of infection for somebody who looks like scary as shit.
Right. So there it is. There's an Imperial officer who's a woman. Like,
Yep.
you know what? That,
You did have Admiral Dalla.
but that was after Lucas, right? Lucas didn't create Dala. Lucas created a huge xenophobic, anti-woman
Well, yeah.
military,
That's
right?
yeah, kind of like ours was back in the day.
So Lucas didn't create her. He didn't create Mara Jade. He didn't create all these. So I don't understand why we can't just keep the Empire being a total douchebag organization and just have men.
Because we want to show that they were versatile.
But
and
they
we're
weren't.
They weren't. I know. We're retconning it.
They stop making them humans.
They're retconning it.
Ugh.
They
That's
were
I have
all
to say.
humans anyway.
No.
He didn't like.
Yeah, they were all humans.
He didn't like fucking
Right.
any alien species except for Thrawn apparently, but that was after
That
Lucas.
was after Lucas.
So
Because if the Emperor saw a blue-skinned alien, he probably would have fired
he
him
would
or
have shot him.
Yeah.
Had him killed.
Yeah,
Used his force lightning.
out the light. No.
Oh wait,
Vader
Nobody-
didn't have a problem hiring aliens.
nope,
Nope.
he didn't.
Bosk.
But
Because he probably hated all humans for living on Tatooine that long. And his only friends were the aliens. Because he grew up with all those kid aliens.
Yeah.
Well, shit, that didn't happen either, because that movie never existed. Pod racing? The fuck is pod
now
racing?
this is pod racing.
It's very accurate according to the Lego Star Wars games.
Okay, I'll go along with those.
Those are fun. I
Yeah.
love those games. Those games are
Lego
awesome.
Star Wars is canon. The
They-
movies, not so much.
They are a riot. I love those games.
And apparently there's a new kind of Star Destroyer that is a giant hangar for TIE fighters.
Ooh,
Like, really? Why didn't we see these in the movies?
because they were secret.
Right, like the bombers.
Yeah.
Psst, no. Okay, we're not even talking about bombers in space. That's just stupid. We don't need bombers. Is it gravity? No. Okay.
I'm taking it Nick didn't like episode 8.
That part was so stupid.
It was.
You
It
could
was.
launch those from far away. You don't have to get right on top of a Star Destroyer.
Yeah. I agree.
That's why the Empire was always going to kick the Rebels' butt.
Hmm.
Because the Rebels are stupid.
Yeah.
Because good is dumb.
Evil shall always triumph over good because good is dumb. So you go in and you start to meet everybody, and the guy with the funny mohawk, he got his mohawk wrong.
I think that's a tattoo.
Is it?
Yeah, I took it as a tattoo.
Like
Okay.
a Darth Maul tattoo.
Let's go back a minute with the...
Oh no, it's the Executioner from Thor 3.
That's what I was going to say. I was trying to think of who it was.
From Ragnarok.
Yeah, from Ragnarok. You go to, what's his name talking about, you can tell that he's going to be the one that defects in this one, where they're eating breakfast, which, if you've read or listened to any of the books, they don't eat real food. They eat like a plasma substance that just has vitamins and protein in it.
They let women in, why can't they get real food?
Yeah, you know.
Okay. And then
Maybe that's because they have a higher stature in the Empire.
And we've never ever actually looked at it from the TIE fighter pilot's point of view. Maybe they got the real good food, and since stormtroopers can't hit anything,
and
give
here is the argument that I wanted to discuss.
You know, your lifespan is 7 seconds, so yeah, here, have a good
them.
meal.
Don't waste the food.
When they say the point is they're the ones who started a war, destroying that battle station was mass murder. Oh yeah? You didn't kill a planet of 1 billion people
They didn't.
on
track
Alderaan?
That's fake news. That never happened.
I like that. They started it. It was mass murder. Okay, they killed 1 million people on that space station. You guys killed literally billions of people. And if you go with Rogue One, even more than just 1 billion people.
all propaganda.
Like all the visiting dignitaries and all the alien species that they allowed on there.
They weren't even supposed to be there that day.
I'm not even supposed to be here.
Somebody's running the Imperial Death Star comic book shop, and I'm not supposed to be here. I'd like a pack of smokes. No,
No.
I'm not supposed to be here. Boom.
All right. Then you get one of the guys on the bridge. I was confused here for a second because I was wondering why this. It seemed I thought he was the captain of the ship who was complaining about not having enough resources and smashing the computer, and then he gets reprimanded. Anything you want to talk about? We need to go back?
No.
No?
Oh, yeah. That guy.
Yeah, I thought he was the captain of the ship, and then he gets reprimanded by Commander
Grandma.
Tesso or... Yeah, I thought that was Grandma for a second, the way it was drawn.
Yeah, and the look was very similar to Grandma. Or grandmother, not Grandma.
What the hell's going on? I can't... Okay, that's going to be a big beef.
What?
But you can't tell who the hell is
Who the hell is who? Because they all look alike?
So you got Tony Stark meeting Aunt May.
Yeah.
And
He's
then,
clearly been working out to be able to smash a computer.
so Tony Stark, the guy who looks like Tony Stark, is on pages before this. So he must have ran the 3 miles to get to the bridge
He must have.
because he's on the
No, he snapped his fingers and he was on the bridge.
right. No, because he's in the hangar, and then all of a sudden he's in the bridge.
Teleportation. Oh, wait.
And
Wrong show.
I understand, like, each panel is a time shift a little
Why
bit.
didn't somebody tell me my ass was so big?
But yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can't tell.
I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna. He
Yeah,
took
okay.
a turbo lift, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Rode one of those little mouse droids.
Yep.
So you're
He
going
just rode on 2 of them, like skates.
Yeah.
Strapped him on. Maybe he had Heelys or whatever they're called.
Okay, and then they get another mission and they're launched again. And they show the Empire showing their force, and then it stops. Oh, but wait! Then you turn the page, and it was like several days ago.
Oh, because it's the
Intro to the book.
it's intro to a book.
Is it?
The opposite side.
I was confused.
So you got the TIE Fighter book, and then you got the book of the X-Wing pilots.
Yeah, because on the cover it says featuring exclusive preview of companion novel Star Wars Alphabet Squadron.
Okay.
And I will say the Skrillex haircut is alive and well in the Star Wars universe.
They had to pick something new. You got to get rid of the mutton chops and the...
I don't know. It looks like Ms. Marvel's talking to... Because she's got Ms. Marvel's hair.
She does have Miss Marvel's hair.
Or
Captain Marvel.
And is she the one that's...
on the cover of the book.
Is she supposed to be Jayla or whatever it is?
Which
because Jayla's got long hair in this, and then in the front,
It could be.
and then the companion, if that's Jayla, she's got Ms. Marvel hair.
Right.
So she got a haircut on the way to.
Yeah.
But she's on the cover of the Alphabet Squadron, right? So she's got that weird haircut. So she must turn...
She must be the one that defects. We're looking at it all wrong. It's not the guy. It's her. It's Jayla.
They truly want you to believe it's going to be somebody else. That's for sure.
Right.
Just like they wanted you to believe that Finn was the Jedi putting the lightsaber on the poster.
He is.
Could be.
He's the Skywalker.
Could be too. Oh wow.
See, Leia and Lando got it on.
Got it on,
And they had Finn.
and Han was like, la, 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 la.
That's why Han and Leia never got married.
That's why they split.
Right.
In
Because she got a little Colt 45.
Because they got married in Timothy Zane's books, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
they were married in.
But that doesn't exist according to DC.
They were married in this.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was thinking.
So it doesn't count.
Anything before the movies doesn't count anymore.
We'll get into that.
But in the
I
Marvel
got some
comics that
backstory.
are continuity, like Han is married. He's got a wife.
He had a wife, no
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What'd you guys think on a rating scale of 1 to 5?
2. I wasn't impressed.
No?
No. I like the idea of the TIE, getting a view from the.
I think that's what I
Empire.
liked about it.
But as far as the story goes and everything, there wasn't enough.
There was no story.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's just not enough there to get me excited about reading the next issue.
Okay. I'm going to read the next issue just because I want to see if the story gets better. But I'll give it a 3.5.
I'll give it a 3. Because one, the art really kind of bugs me some parts. Like, I can't tell who's who.
You don't like that black on
I
red
don't
font.
like the red on the black font. I can't stand that. I mean, I know it's supposed to look like a TIE fighter inside.
Yeah.
It's just not. You can't read it. It's like reading the Sandman with the black boxes and the white like letters. And ugh, can't stand that either. But maybe it's just because my eyes are going bad. What?
The cover's awesome. I love the cover.
Yeah.
But what you can do also is just call this Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, these are the Viper pilots. It's pretty much just generic sci-fi pilots. Which
Yeah.
I will give it another shot.
I'm going to say, since I'm a big Star Wars nerd, I have sat and read through so much horrible shit that I will give this another chance.
No, that's understandable.
If they don't do it by the second issue, I'm not buying 3, 4, and 5.
It's not Darksaber. Darksaber has to be the worst Star Wars novel, in my opinion.
Let's see. Courtship of Princess Leia was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's another one?
There's a few of them out there, but the ones I remember reading are only the good ones because those are, the ones that you want to remember reading.
There's the Truce at Baccarat.
That one wasn't
Ouch.
bad.
Pretty boring.
It's
though.
boring,
Yeah.
but it wasn't bad. There's a book out there called New Rebellion that I have at home that I absolutely love. It's my favorite out of the whole expand. Oh, sorry, the Legends.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Mine would have to be I, Jedi.
It's pretty good.
It's alright, but halfway through it just retells the story of Luke's Jedi Academy. Like,
Yeah, the Jedi Academy series I liked, where he goes and he finds Kip Duron and
Yeah.
they
I
go
remember
through the
that. That
spice
was pretty good.
mines. That one was a quick read by Kevin. Is it Kevin J.
Kevin
Anderson?
J. Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was I liked that one. That one was really good. I read through that in like 3 days.
So I got to meet Kevin J. Anderson one time.
Mhm.
He was at a panel and he was like, so let me name off some characters and you tell me if they're dead or not. He just went through
They did kill
like
off a lot of
15
his characters.
He was like, how are they doing? Oh, they're dead. How are they doing? They're dead. How are they? Are they dead.
Yeah.
He's like, anybody still alive? Oh, Tahiri is. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Out of everybody, like all
He's
the-
not dead yet. Monty Python's picking him up in the
Yeah. I-
wheelbarrow.
I didn't like that they wiped out all but one Solo kid.
They had to
Wait,
make
what?
dark Jedis.
Hold on. What happened?
Oh, you haven't read? What's the last thing you read?
I could not tell you.
When they go against the Yuzan Vong, Anakin Solo dies. He gets obliterated, saving everybody. And then later on, Jason falls to the dark side and goes by the name Darth Caedus. And his twin sister has to kill him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I read the early, the Timothy Zahn stuff and the Anderson stuff. I don't remember reading much past that outside of like Tales of the Bounty Hunters
There-
and Mos Eisley or
I
whatever.
think the only thing that I haven't read is the Han Solo Tales of the Cantina.
That's good. I
Is
enjoyed
it?
that one. Yeah.
That's the only thing I haven't read of the old stuff. So
Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
I read it.
I read it in comic book form.
How they
Yeah.
retconned it. They changed the whole story after that.
Yep.
And it's not even considered canon anymore. Even though George Lucas wrote it.
Did he co-write it?
I don't know. He might have co-wrote it. I don't have it. I remember reading it when I was a kid.
Alan Dean Foster.
Hmm.
This is Alan Dean Foster. I can see it on the shelf.
Oh. Nerd.
Yes. I kept it. I had to keep it.
He's just kidding. He knew that off the top of his head.
Right.
You didn't look at the book.
Guys, it's Alan Dean Foster. Somebody's out there screaming.
It's Alan Dean
Gotta get you right. Get you straight, guys.
Get it straight, you damn Star Wars haters. All right. The next one we're going to do.
I have a feeling this one's going to be very split.
Let me preface this by saying I love Star Wars, and the idea of Dark Empire was cool. It did not age well.
No, not at all.
I've read so much since this that it's like, why did it, the concept of it was cool, right? Luke turning to the dark side.
He does what?
It's no spoilers.
It's only 20 years old.
It's like 20 some years old.
28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you kind of a glimpse that maybe J.J. Abrams stole something for the next
You mean
film.
a lot of it?
Yeah.
For the next film?
Well, for just any film that's come out after that, essentially.
Yeah.
For it not being in canon, they sure did use a whole lot of it.
Well, look what, the fans were like, you gotta have Thrawn. Thrawn's gotta be canon. Thrawn's gotta be canon. And it took them like 6 years to make him canon. Right?
Yeah.
And they're slowly bringing that stuff back in, but they will never have Jaina, Jason, or Anakin. They will never have Cornhorn. They will never have all the cool Jedi that they had. So...
Well, when we were growing up, Kyle Katarn was the one who stole the Jedi plans.
Yes.
Not now.
Nope.
And that was one of my favorite Jedis.
Yeah, Kyle Katarn stole and now it's a secret rebel group called Rogue One stole the plans.
Yeah. I think that might be why I don't really like Rogue One that much.
I don't like Rogue One until the last...
See, we've already seen Vader fight.
Not like that.
He's fighting people who has no chance against him. At least when we saw him fight, he fought people that stood a chance.
I wanted to see him just slaughter people. Because he seems like such a pussy in the movies. He does this.
Well, that's special effects, limitations.
I like when he clenches his fist and the guys just start flying everywhere. Maybe I just enjoyed that a little too much.
For a prequel movie, that is the best start for a prequel movie. I mean, 3.5?
Yeah.
Because 1 and through 3 don't exist.
3.5.
Starts on an odd number,
Right.
It's not 4. It's not 4. It's 3.5. So what did you think of it, Nick?
All right. So I remember back in the day when there was no Star Wars stuff. There was no comics. There was no toys.
Yes.
There was no books.
Yes, kiddies. There was no Star Wars stuff for a long time.
Completely dead from like 1986 through like 1991.
Yes.
Completely dead.
Dead.
Like, there was nothing. Was it 88?
Yeah.
Because that was the end of the toys?
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a good chunk of time where there was nothing. And at that time, it felt like forever for us.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going off memory on this one. Like, I saw this at the comic shop and I freaked out.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I had Heir to the Empire, and 1991 me, probably 15 years old, wasn't really up for an antagonist who reads people's societies by their artwork, who can tell everything about them.
Oh.
Thrawn at that time for me was really dry,
and
I've grown into
Thrawn.
him.
I love Thrawn from the beginning.
But at that time, I wanted I want the Emperor, I want firefights, I want everything. And that's what this book gave me at the time.
Yeah.
Like Luke going crazy, supposedly betraying his friends and joining the dark side.
But just doing it too.
But then he just was like, we'll get to the ending later, but it had everything that I wanted at the time. And rereading it now, I was like, I can't stand this artwork.
Nope.
Who did this artwork? Cam Kennedy. Wait a minute, I'm a huge Judge Dredd fan. How do I know this name? Oh yeah, he did a whole bunch of 2000 AD stuff, and
Just
I have
a
graphic novel of his stuff. Now I can put it in my brain that he's worked in British comic books, so that's why his artwork doesn't look exactly like an American's. I can deal with most of them. There's just one picture of Leia that I cannot stand.
Which one is that?
The one where her cheek folds into her mouth.
It's not the MC Hammer pants?
Oh, or the giant jacket.
Yeah.
That. Okay, so there's 3 pictures. She has a jacket that's bigger than the walkway down the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, I mean, like when you read it, it seems like somebody was just writing it for one-liners.
Yeah.
There's a lot of one-liners, like especially Han. Han says a lot of one-liners.
Yeah.
I still will reread this book a lot.
It's our childhood.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a 3 because for the time it was great.
Yeah.
For now, we've seen so much. It's like people going, yeah, the Beatles, I've heard better, and it's like, well, you maybe have heard better, but they were the ones who did it first.
They were the best.
Yep. And I can't say you're going to hear anybody that did it better, but
We haven't hit that yet. We had one band that was close, and then they imploded.
right, the Liquid Shits were great.
They were. We're always going to promote the Liquid Shits.
Always. Okay.
Always.
That's my opinion on the book. Now, fight.
My only thing about it is I like it. I still do. It didn't age well.
I agree.
Like I said, good story. I still have a hard time with the art because I never read anything of Dredd or anything by this artist. I can get past that. There's just certain things. It's mostly that it didn't age well.
No, I absolutely agree with that.
Now I'm going to attack my fellow Star Wars nerds who say, why are you just copying episode 4? Why are you getting, what is it, this Death Star shit? They've been doing it in every book, every war. There is always a Death Star-like machine. This isn't new. Even in here with the World Devastators. And then you had the Dreadnoughts. And then you had all these other ones. If you read the books, which most of you guys didn't, you probably were those Star Wars guys that were like, oh, it's only the movies and nothing else. Right? But if you had read all of the stories, you would have realized this isn't the first time that they've used a fucking uber weapon. So that's my little rant. What did you think of it, Ryan?
I agree. It didn't age well at all. But I remember getting it off the shelf and thinking this was fantastic.
Yeah.
Huge Star Wars fan as a child. You didn't see the Star Wars stuff like Nick was saying.
Yeah. It was like, what was I watching? I was watching something. I can't remember what it was. It was like, it took place in the 80s, like right after Return of the Jedi. And they're like, we're just waiting. He's going to have another one out here soon. I can't remember what it was.
The Goldbergs?
Was it the Goldbergs?
I don't know.
I think it probably was
like
the Gold.
something they
It sounded like
yeah.
the Goldbergs. Yeah, they're like, it's the, he's got to be bringing out more movies, and we had a 15-year gap, 83, 84. The first episode 1 came out in 99.
Yeah.
So it was a long time.
What did?
The one that doesn't exist.
Okay.
Anyway, it was a long time in between. It's not like Star Trek where you were getting a new Star Trek movie
Consistently, yeah.
consistently. It was like, and the reason for that is because George Lucas got divorced from his wife, and he didn't want her to have any of the rights to any of the. You find this stuff out later on that it was because of him going through personal issues is why he didn't bring out new movies right away.
Right.
So he was like, half? You can have half of my Howard the Duck money.
Yep, there you go. That movie was
Fantastic for 1987.
Yes.
Featuring a duck.
Yes.
How many other movies featured a duck?
Yes. Who gets it on with Leah Thompson?
Yeah, exactly.
Inconceivable. But it was a long time, and I remember I didn't even know this existed. I got Heir to the Empire first.
Sure.
Because I had a friend in school. I was a sophomore. And I looked over at his desk, and he had a copy of Heir to the Empire. I'm like, the shit is this? I'm
Right.
like, there's new Star Wars material? So I ran out to, I can't remember what bookstore, but I bought it.
Walden's.
Walden's or
B. Dalton's.
Dalton's or one of those.
Little Professor.
Little Professor,
Forgot about Little Professor.
because Barnes & Noble wasn't around back then. It was all little booksellers. And I just read it, and I'm like, when does the next one come out? And I had to wait like a year for the next one to come out. I was like, this is shit.
Well, I guess we did have Willow.
Mm.
It was Star Wars.
It was.
I mean, it's
I have never seen it.
What?
so.
I've never seen it air on television, and finding it on DVD.
I think I can find you a copy of it if you want to see
I
it.
would love to see it.
I think I can find a copy for you.
I loved it, but when I watched it, like when I was a kid, I was like, "This is the greatest, right? This is awesome."
Yeah.
Then I'm watching it like when I'm in my 20s, I'm like, "This is Star Wars." Like that's Luke, that's Han, that's Leia, that's Darth Vader.
You wanted to talk about the ending?
I do want to also talk about naked Palpatine.
Again, it goes back to why does everybody have to come out of these things
Naked. Back to our X-Men conversation.
So yeah, Palpatine comes back in the clone body. And
Yeah.
he fights Luke naked.
Naked.
Like he's okay. So I was like, so he's just trying to intimidate him by his giant dark side nuts. Is that what he's doing?
Suck on these dark side nuts.
Oh, I seen the Schwanzes as big as mine. But no, it like the ending was way too fast.
Yeah.
Like Luke and Leia beat him by holding hands,
Yep.
pretty much.
Their force
Like-
power was stronger than his.
Now you got to remember, there's a third Jedi joining them.
Ah, fuck. He's like 3 months old in the womb, which was the creepiest part about this book was that Palpatine in like the first couple issues was like, I'm going to go in your baby, right? We're thinking he's going to go in the baby in the womb, like when he was going to die and regenerate as not in a clone body, but in that baby. But then he's later on, he's like, maybe when the baby's older, I'll come and take him.
Precursor to Kylo Ren.
So you said this came out before Heir to the Empire.
This came out after.
After.
Heir of the Empire
After
came
they
out.
said that they had twins coming.
Yes, because the twins are already in this book. They're just on
a different
New
planet.
Alderaan. or
Yeah,
whatever it
they
is.
made reference to.
Oh,
the
so
twins
this is
being-
Anakin.
Sure. Yeah,
Because there was there's only 3 of them.
This was the first appearance or first mention of Anakin.
Okay. Because
It's
there's
Kylo
only
Ren.
Okay. Anyway,
Maybe Kylo Ren's not really his real name. It's Ben Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
Ben-
there you go.
Ben Solo.
Yeah,
Ben
so
Solo.
It's Ben.
that's why I love the expanded universe, but none of it meshes together.
Reading this, in my mind, I'm reading this and I'm thinking of the movies as well. And this expanded universe doesn't exist, but kid becoming a Jedi, the new preview for the movie. You hear the Emperor laughing,
Mm-hmm.
clone. Okay, well, there's that.
There's that. He cloned them.
Okay, so also in this book, they make a big deal about Vima Dabota, right?
Right.
Vima. Like the old Jedi that
Yeah.
Leia meets. And she gives her a lightsaber.
Yes.
Okay, so this make this huge thing, and then like in one panel, Palpatine breaks it.
Yep.
Like, that's old. Broken.
It's done.
Like, you just wasted 6 panels of comics.
Yep.
And with even Han, I felt that they didn't capture him real well
No.
because Han always pushed back and is like, Leia's like, no, this is what I'm doing. Oh,
Okay.
okay, honey.
Okay, honey.
What
Well,
else do you need from the grocery store? Milk.
Well, she was pregnant, and she was a Jedi, so maybe he kind of feared her at that point.
And there was a panel that was like, she didn't even have to use the Jedi mind tricks on him.
Yeah.
It was like, so you've been doing that? You know?
It's a fun read. It just
One of the things with the expanded universe and what I liked is that they did put a focus on Wedge a lot.
Wedge was a
They
major
brought him-
character.
Made him a important character,
He
one of
was
the few
a-
survivors.
He was one of 3 survivors of the first Death Star run and the second one. They make a big deal out of it
Yeah.
in the new ones. If you read any of the new ones, they say he's got patches on his jacket from being like the little ribbons they have. for
Right.
Military. He's like for Battle of Yavin, Battle of Endor, and he's one of the only ones who survive the 2 battles.
Right.
So, yeah, I like that. They kind of made up for killing off Biggs Darklighter by bringing back Gavin Darklighter, his younger brother.
Yeah.
So you have a
In what?
Darklighter. Huh?
In what? Where did they bring him back in?
In the
Did they?
They brought his brother.
Like
brother.
in X-Wing, like the books?
Yeah, they brought his brother in. Yeah, he turns out to be like the admiral of the Republic Navy in the one where Jason turns to the dark side. But yeah, I miss it because we all grew up with these characters. If you read any of the other books,
Yep.
and then in one fell swoop, Disney goes, nope,
We don't own it. Bye.
no more stories of anything. Of these characters that you've spent the last 28 years reading about and starting to care about, like Mara Jade was an awesome character. I was sad when they killed her.
When Jason killed her?
When Jason killed he killed his own aunt. Because he was gonna. She found out what was going on, and she was gonna tell Luke, and he killed her.
I might be on the opposite way. I mean, I'm kind of glad that they did because they were starting to get really subpar.
They were.
And some of those stories were just like, this is horrible. This should not be canon.
In
this, there's a 3-mile long Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
3 miles long. That is so Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
you have to have a transporter to get around.
Look at the new movie, that giant Star Destroyer they had at the beginning that got blown up by the dumb bombers you hate.
Yeah,
That was the same thing, same concept. So, I don't know. I'm not defending anything. It's just, it was getting bad at the end. I'm like, that whole 8-book
Luke's Crusade, like going
where
to go
Luke-
find
what turned Jason dark.
Yeah,
We could have done without that. The ending was so shitty. The beginning was cool. The ending was shitty.
well, he fought the same person every book.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here's that Dark Jedi again. Here's another Dark Jedi.
There's Dark
The
Jedi.
same one. He said, oh, she's back again.
Yep. The last, I really enjoyed the one with Cadus. That one was really good. I like that one. They didn't need to make this last one. But, alright.
We can just riff on something.
Yeah, let's riff on something.
Planet of
the Nerds. What is that?
So,
Oh, before we do that, anything grind your gears? I think you already said.
Naked Palpatine.
Naked Palpatine.
Fetus Jedi. Yeah, that's it. Wait, no. Nar Shaddaa.
You didn't like
that
Nar
shit
Shaddaa?
took forever.
Yeah. I didn't like the hut falling off the thing. I was like, whatever.
But they need the skiff.
What do we need this for?
And he's like, hold on. And he does a barrel roll. And it's just
Yeah,
an
on a
open
skiff.
lift.
On an open
it's a
lift.
treadmill is what it is.
It just goes up and barrel rolls. And he's like, hold on. And she's like, what?
What? Ryan?
The Boba Fett part.
Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
The Sarlacc found me somewhat indigestible. Really? That just doesn't sound right.
But 1,000 years of pain and torture by being digested slowly.
Yeah, they still don't.
You would still die in an hour.
Yeah.
You'd be digested for 1,000 years.
The stomach acids alone. I mean,
They did make him somewhat cool in that. He's the one that trains Jaina to kill Jedi because he's one of the only ones who knows how to kill Jedi.
Does he?
No, but
Does he really?
no, he got taken out by a blind man and a Wookiee.
yeah, I think the other thing, a couple of things. Leia was extremely whiny in this. Is that a requisite for...
That's because
Becoming
she's
a
a
Jedi?
she's a Skywalker. All Skywalkers are whiny.
horrible?
Just look at Ben Solo.
You know, and like Nick said, the ending
Like Rey?
was just so quick. You know, and it was like, is Luke a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Oh, he's doing this, but
He's wearing Vader's armor in the beginning.
Yeah.
it's
Did he go
just
back
so,
to Endor and get it?
I don't know. That just frustrated me, but it was good. A lot of good childhood memories for me. So I'll take it.
I guess mine was just what grind my gears was how quickly he just decided. Like Anakin, Anakin was like, I give myself to you. And then Luke, what is thy bidding, my master? You know, that point, just put up a little fight, you know? Come on, guys.
They warned you about this. Come on.
Right.
They told you that this thing was evil.
You're not
But
gonna
from
listen,
my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
not going to listen to your dad, the one that should have influence over you. But some old wrinkled up guy sitting on a throne says, yeah, do my bidding. Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay, sounds
Candy
good
from
to-
strangers.
good to me.
Sign me up.
Yep.
But I will say the massive amount of watercoloring that they did. Holy crap. Like, I could not imagine sitting here and
I
coloring
seem
this.
to remember it taking a while for each book to come out.
Okay. So, rating, and then we'll get into Planet of the Nerds. Nick?
3.5.
I'm
I'll
gonna-
raise it up a little bit.
I'm going to go 3.5, just mainly because of my happy memories of reading it the first time.
I'll give it a 1. No. I was gonna 3.5. You guys stole mine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I couldn't give it a 4 because I've
3.5.
Because
4.95.
I complained about it not aging well, and then I'm gonna go, it's a 4.
Solid 5 right here.
All right. So, what do you got for us there, Ryan?
All right. So when we were trying to figure out what to get for a new book last week, I happened to notice this book called Planet of the Nerds. It intrigued me enough that the shop didn't get it. I had them order it. They got it in for me. Not a lot of demand for Planet of the Nerds. I read through it promptly when I got home tonight. It's from a new publisher, Ahoy Comics. Never heard of them. But Planet of the Nerds is basically the jocks are beating up on this nerd. And they, for whatever reason, one of the jocks has this thing for this nerd as far as like, I just want to, my jollies are beating the crap out of this nerd. So he starts following him now after school. Nerd goes into a house. He's working on something. They think it's, because this is all taking place in the 80s. I think it said 88.
Okay.
They follow him into the house. They go to, because they think it's the whole Star Wars thing with Russia and the atomic bomb. You know, he's building some kind of massive destructional vehicle of some sort. They go to beat him up. They take an axe to the machine that he is working on. And then the next panel, this is where it gets exciting, guys. The next panel, they are climbing out of the rubble of the house, and they are trying to figure out what a Chipotle is. They are now in 2019, and they're outside of a gigantic sci-fi comic book convention full of nerds.
Okay.
And that's how the book ends. The jocks are going to go beat the crap out of a bunch of nerds at a comic convention.
Okay.
It was odd enough that I wanted to bring it and kind of just throw it out there. I know I gave you guys no warning on this whatsoever, but I didn't even know what it was all about until I checked it out. Yeah, so, you know, I think the cool thing about this Planet of the Nerds is they have the primary story. There is a second backup story in this particular issue that kind of gives the nerds side of things of why he's building this time machine, I guess. And he has I think it's a gecko. Gregory the Gecko, yes. That's his good luck charm. And he decided this was the day he was going to go out and ask his crush out. And it leads into when the bullies are actually beating him up at the first story. And then how he goes and it shows how he's building this machine and how he's hoping this gecko turns into some kind of... is able to save his life down the road because he's going to freeze himself at some point and reanimate, I guess. I don't know. But it gets a little weird because he envisions the gecko as a female at some point. And I didn't care for the backup story.
He wants to date his gecko.
So he's into this girl, let's see, Autumn. She sees the gecko, freaks out, that's gross. The bullies end up socking him, and he's like, what did I do? And then he falls asleep while working in his lab and envisions the gecko.
Oh my god.
With lipstick, blonde hair, and a long Marilyn Monroe dress, I would say.
That is very Omaha the Cat Dancer.
Yep.
Sorry. Like I had a lot of books about comics and like the history of comics, and
yeah,
there was a huge thing on like adult comics in there, and that was one of them.
Well, the part that I think bothered me just a tiny bit. We're not a PG show, right?
Fuck no.
Fuck no. Okay.
The gecko talks to him and says, "Don't you want a blowjob, Alvin? I'll just put my lips together and suck." Yeah.
Oh.
So
okay.
He ends up freezing the gecko. He takes the gecko out. It falls apart. One day those dumb jocks will beg me for a job. One day Autumn will regret what she did. One day I'll be unfrozen on Alvin 8, a planet in the Alpha Centauri system. The gecko falls apart, and then he says, one day I'll finally get a blowjob. And that's the end of that little side story.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they had 2 prose stories at the very end. 1-page prose story. I thought that was pretty interesting, nothing to write home about, but there is a different take. So they're taking. All right.
So what do you think about that book? You're going to buy it again?
I'm probably going to get the second issue to see.
They have a riot at the con.
It reminded me, like it was leading into, I read a Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, where they go to a Comic-Con and there's a riot because they're trying to all get the same book and there's a monster chasing around. It reminded me, like, it sounded like it was going into something very similar to that. I'm going to get a second issue, check it out, see if it goes anywhere. Right now, I'd say it's probably like a 2.5 kind of thing. But it was just enough to catch my interest, and I'm always willing to try something new to see if it's worth my time. Cool. Find a lot of books that way.
Anything you want to talk about, Nick?
If anybody has any recommendations for what we should do, just let me know. I do want to get a list out of all our email addresses and our...
I need to get the Twitter page made.
Right.
I'm going to make the Twitter page.
But yeah, you can just get a hold of us at btspodcast@yahoo.com.
Yeah, for right now, till we get all that set up.
Or, yeah, our Twitter handle is
it's gonna come
Beyond
out on,
the Super One.
It's going to go out on the Haunted Log Network anyway.
Right. So, yeah, if you guys want, you can actually send in some comics. I'll send you my address.
Just send us some
send
comics.
me some comics. We'll review them, and then. But maybe one of these days we'll actually get something from like Marvel or DC.
We could be
if
like,
we keep ramming on Marvel, they'll be like, "Let us prove you wrong."
well, that's what I want. I want them to go back to the storytelling and,
Don't get us wrong. The Marvel from the 70s, fantastic.
70s, 80s, 90s.
80s starts getting questionable, but
90s they had a resurgence.
Yeah.
So even the 90s, up to the 90s, 80s, yeah, it was kind of dicey there for a little bit.
I don't know. One of my favorite books is Team America.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Secret underground SHIELD agents that roam the country as... Well, I'm sorry. One of them is a SHIELD agent that roam the country as motorcycle stuntmen, and they're mutants who, when they get in trouble, they all fall asleep, and like the Dark Rider comes out and
you can't
saves
tell
the day.
that he doesn't like it. It's got the orb everywhere. No, I absolutely still love Marvel. I wish they would just go back to good storytelling.
Yeah, I'm not anti-Marvel. I would love to read stuff from Marvel.
Yeah. I want the characters to go back to being distinguishable.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like agree. Nick said, Peter Parker looking like Peter Parker. That kind of stuff. We're back. So, guys, why don't we talk about our favorite trade paperbacks?
I think that's a bad idea.
There's so many.
There's too many.
Okay, let's narrow that down. One that you've read more than once.
You got to go higher than that.
Okay. Well, I can't because more than 20 times.
All right, now you're pushing it.
I have one.
Okay, because I have one too, going off of that number.
Okay.
Just a high number time, Nick. That's all we're looking for.
Power Pack Volume 1, Issues 1 through 5. Is that yours?
No.
You want it to be? Because I can bring them out. I have all the issues.
No, I'm good.
We could do Power Pack number 1. We could do a whole month of just kids, like little kid superhero books.
That sounds fantastic. Tell me what month so I can go on vacation.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Nick. I got a thing for the next 4 weeks.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm very much open to it. That's what we're all about, trying the new stuff.
Read some Shazam.
I love Shazam.
I want to get into
Power
Shazam.
of Shazam. I'm trying to track it down.
Franklin Richards. Those were funny, though.
Okay, all right. I'll give you a Franklin Richards.
We can do that.
They were meant to be funny. They were Calvin and Hobbes inspired.
No, yeah, they were very much so.
We should pick a month and do two. Do 2 weeks where we do, or 1 week, 2 weeks.
I'm not going to make you read Power Pack number 1. I'll make you read Power Pack Meets the Punisher.
Once a week or once a month, we do a Kids Corner.
There you go. Welcome, kiddies, to Kids Corner on the Round Robin Comic Book Podcast.
Today, Wally the Wizard number 4 by
try to track down those issues. Richie Rich 542. Of what company?
So, I will go first. Mine, surprise, surprise,
Is Little Lotta number 2.
is Uncanny X-Men, the Dark Phoenix saga. Might have read it more than 20 times, because I only owned 2 at the time. I owned Asgardian Wars, and I owned Dark Phoenix Saga. And I reread it at least once or twice in a year.
All right.
And I have to say that Dark Phoenix is so much better than the Guardian Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because
It's not so disjointed.
Asgardian Wars introduced me to Alpha Flight. Got me into liking Alpha Flight.
Okay.
But just the story of the Dark Phoenix and
I never read it. I don't know anything about it. I just know that's where she went kind of crazy, right? Jean Grey went nuts.
yeah, the clone of Jean Grey went nuts.
Was
What?
that what it was? The clone?
Clone?
Yeah, it was a clone.
What?
They explain it in X Factor #1.
No.
Yeah,
No.
they explain it in X Factor #1.
Retcon? No.
Retcon 1986.
No.
Yeah,
Okay, so it wasn't Jean.
No.
And it wasn't
Madeline.
Madeline.
No,
It was somebody
Madeline
else.
was a clone of Jean
Right.
from
But the Jean
Mr.
from-
Sinister.
The whole line through the Dark Phoenix saga wasn't Jean.
No,
Come on.
when they crash the shuttle into the ocean, she gets trapped by the Phoenix, and she comes up and it's a clone.
You know, this sounds like a movie that Michael Keaton made. It's called Multiplicity.
Jean Grey has one of the shittiest histories. Because she's died like 4 or 5 times and they keep bringing her back. But yeah, in X Factor #1 you find out that it was a clone of her.
Okey-doke.
And
Okay, that totally changes my mind of...
and Reed Richards finds her at the bottom of the ocean in a sarcophagus.
Ugh.
Was she right underneath Captain America?
I don't know.
Namor found her.
But it's
50
still,
years later, I found somebody else in the same spot.
even though I found that out, it's still my favorite.
It kind of takes all the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
It does.
From what I know of from what I've understood of the story, like I said, I have never read it. I don't know.
It's a fantastic story if I hadn't just ruined that for you.
I even remember reading X Factor #1, and I don't remember that. But that was also read 20 years ago, so
Yeah.
There's a lot of comics under that bridge.
So, but how it's just interesting how you see how she wipes out a whole entire planet of people. So what I don't get is, they had the trial of Jean Grey, right?
When the Shi'ar were on trial.
Yeah.
Right.
How can you put her on trial if it wasn't her?
Maybe it was a scroll, just like the last issue.
I don't know. But I like the Hellfire Club. They're one of my favorite groups for the X-Men. One of my favorite adversaries for the X-Men is the Hellfire Club. How Mastermind possesses Jean and makes her into the Black Queen.
And you finally get to see Wolverine solo.
Yep.
Which is actually in that storyline where he goes and gets the Hellfire Club.
Yep.
Guards in the basement or the sewer.
Yep. He goes all badass on them. Yeah. Not really.
For the time.
For the time, yeah. But, and then how she sacrifices herself to save the universe from being destroyed by the Dark Phoenix.
But now we know she really didn't.
She didn't. Sorry for anybody who didn't know that.
Takes all the...
You read it.
I did, but...
And DC stole this idea for Final Night, it sounds like?
No.
Okay.
So, that was mine. The other one was Asgardian Wars, but that's just because I didn't have anything else to read. How about you, Nick?
Alright, so going through favorite graphic novels, that was kind of hard. Most read was probably, I don't know, there was the old McFarlane Hulks. I like read that issue where Hulk fights Wolverine like 8 million times as a kid. But I read the graphic novel once, so I can't really say anything about that. But The Death of Jean DeWolf by Amazing Spider-Man by Peter David and Rich Buckler. Like, this book is intense. Like I remember reading it. God, I bought this probably in the late 2000s. Probably like 2008, 2009.
And it's beat up.
It is. It looks
you
like
have read it.
You've read it and read it and read it.
It's Peter trying to stop the Sin Eater from killing a whole bunch of people.
I might have to borrow this from you.
And it just...
Since it's Spider-Man. We know how Kirk feels about Spider-Man.
It's got really good pacing. It's got really good characters. It's got really good artwork. And
he's in his black suit.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, just... I love it.
All right, I'll have to read that. Borrow it from you.
For me, trade paperback, I would say Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Big surprise there.
What? Hard Traveling Heroes?
Hard Traveling Heroes.
I'm gonna have. I want to borrow that one too.
I've got.
That's when you find out that
5 different copies of this trade, and because of the different covers.
That's when you find out Speedy's a clone, right?
And he's on heroin, right? That's the one where he's on heroin, right?
But it's not really Speedy because he's a clone.
Well, sorry, guys. I apologize. I didn't mean to burst your bubble. I didn't know you guys liked it that much. I didn't know you liked it that much, too.
Now I'm going to have to reread it again.
Oh, that makes sense now. I got it. All right.
How else do you bring somebody back?
It's Marvel. They do it all the time. The only person they don't bring back is Uncle Ben. I mean, Bucky was supposed to be an untouchable.
It was Uncle Ben, Bucky, and Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Were the 3 that have never come back, and now it's just Uncle Ben.
Yeah, just give that a couple more decades. Sorry. Sorry, we didn't mean to.
You're absolutely fine.
Go ahead.
It's entertaining to listen to you guys go back and forth. But, I have read this Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, probably 100 times. I read it several times a year. I love it. It is a dated book because of the...
See, that's the one that I want to get, and I can't ever find it online. I put it in, and it's like, that's not what I want.
Right.
I can't ever find it.
Well, if I remember, I'll try to bring it in. But
all right.
It's Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams. And the artwork's absolutely amazing.
I heard about it from Kevin Smith. He had... was it Denny O'Neil? I think he had Denny O'Neil on Fat Man on Batman.
Oh, nice.
And they did 2 hours of them just talking about all the stuff that he did.
Yeah, it was very politically driven
No, it was Neil Adams. It wasn't Denny O'Neil. It was Neil Adams.
Oh, it was Neil Adams.
He had Neil Adams on.
But it was very hot topic. They weren't fighting bad guys or villains. They were fighting environmental issues and things like that. And they're called Hard Traveling Heroes. They decided they were going to go across the United States and try to not use their weapons. And for whatever reason, a Guardian decided, you know what, this is going to be fun. I'm going to hang out with you. And they traveled across the United States. And then
that's right. Ganthet went along with them, right?
Yeah, because he wanted to learn about their culture and learn more about them. And Black Widow joins up at a point, and then they kind of go into that whole superhero world again. But they had the issue with Oliver's sidekick, Speedy, doing drugs, heroin. Yep, shooting up. Big issue there. They had political issues. They had environmental issues where they were saving trees and things like that. And I just enjoy it. I mean, it is a little bit dated, but it's still something different from the standard superhero stuff.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, the newest one that I'll probably start reading over and over again, is Identity Crisis.
That is a fantastic read.
Was awesome. I was texting Nick, and I'm like, I really love this thing. He goes, have you figured out who it is yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And he's like, it's a really good mystery.
Well, we'll cover that one up.
Yeah, in Mystery Month.
Mystery Month, yes. Yep. But, I think, as odd as it is, a close second for me is Elephant Man.
Really?
I really enjoy that. I don't know why.
I've never read it.
I haven't ever heard of it.
The art's interesting.
The art is amazing.
Okay, so Rocketeer, the graphic novel.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's been read so many times.
You've never heard of Elephant Man?
No.
Yeah, try to synopsis that.
Synopsis it, man. Synopsis it.
All right.
Break it down one time. Boy.
In the future, I can't remember what the time frame is on it, but in the future, a company starts making animal men to fight their wars for them. And they don't really ever get into the war portion of it. They kind of touch on it, but the war's over now. These animal men creatures have to now integrate into the human world. So you have Hip Flask, who is a hippopotamus, who is a detective. And
that sounds interesting.
Oh, it is. I'm blanking on a lot of the characters' names right off the top of my head, but there's a rhino that is a bad guy who is married to a Beyonce type. You know, everybody adores her, and she's a very public political figure, but he's very kind of under kingpin type.
Okay.
And Hip's in love with a taxi driver, and it's just everything kind of intertwines and just goes and goes and goes, and it's just the art is absolutely fantastic in it. The stories are really intriguing, and they capture your imagination. You want to keep on reading it, and I'm always let down at the end of it because I'm like, that's it? I want the next one.
Yeah.
And it was one of those deals where the first 5 books came in, and I'm like, I've been kind of wanting to read it. Well, I'll take all 5. And I haven't stopped reading it since, and I pick up the trades on it all the time and constantly reading it. And going back and looking at it, because it is, I believe, a European book.
That looks really interesting.
I think, there's some parts that you're kind of like, but for the most part, it's been very entertaining.
All right. Yeah. Looks off the wall and bizarre.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of humor in it.
I'm getting into it. I'm
detective
getting
stuff.
into that stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's fun. Don't find the single issues too often. That's why you pick it up in the trades.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that's been this week's episode of the Round Robin Comic Book Podcast. Give us a follow on Twitter at Beyond the Super One, or soon we'll have a comic book one, and you guys can follow us there. Read more comics. Expand your minds. Don't just read Marvel or DC, or don't be a one company wonder.
Pick anything up and just try it. You never know what's going to catch your attention.
Yep.
Like Power Pack number 1.
Nick's really pushing that Power Pack number 1. Something really awesome must take place in that book.
I have never found any kind of interest in Power Pack in what appears to some kid shooting rainbows out of his ass. I don't get it.
Well,
maybe there's something there.
All right, guys. So, on that note, we have one fan of Power Pack and not so much on the other.
Can't say I'm not a fan. I haven't read it.
Just read more comics, expand your minds. This has been Kirk.
Nick.
Ryan.
See you guys next week.